Welcome to your weekday Cup of the Word. We're in Psalm 106 and we're going to finish it up today. We're going to go from verse 28 all the way to the end at verse 48. Now this psalm is a psalm that talks primarily about what God has put up with, God's patience through mistreatment. And here, as we start verse 28, it continues with that idea, talking about how they had worshipped idols and God had to watch them. Here in the very land they'd been given by Him, they set up idols on the very hills that He'd given to them. He gave them victory after victory, and yet they didn't want to fight. He took them into the land, and then they didn't like the land. And they got to the point where even Moses, they tipped Moses' hand so that Moses spoke rashly and was angry. They took the most humble man on the earth and made him angry. And that's the kind of people they were. And no matter how many times they got themselves in trouble, God kept pulling them out of the trouble. And they would finally figure it out, and they'd cry out to God and say, God, help us. And God, instead of saying, well, you did this to yourselves, and so fine, I'll leave you, God would always come and save them again. And that's the idea that this psalm ends with, is the hope that God will once again hear their cry. Most likely this psalm was written during Babylonian captivity, with the idea that God, look, as we look in the past, you put up with a lot and we always mistreated you and we're so sorry. And in the past, every time we said we're sorry, you've accepted us and you've taken care of us and you've watched over us again. Please do that one more time. If it really was written during Babylonian captivity, as it seems to point, the answer is He did. He did hear their cry and eventually did take them back to the land from which He had torn them because of their idolatry and wickedness. That's your Daily Cup, and we'll see you tomorrow.